What's that?
The girls are at my house. Can you tell us what's going on?
It's not good.
Is she alive?
No, she's not.
Was she shot?
Yes.
She was out here earlier when about 5 o'clock or so. I saw her out here. Everything seemed fine. There was a truck. She had a significant other. She was going through a divorce, and they're legally separated. But he was here. The black truck was here.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think he shot her?
Well, I can't tell you a whole lot.
I got it.
So as long as the children are safe with you for now, we'll take care of it from there.
As far as I know, her. Oh gosh, I'm assuming that it was.
Pay attention to the silence in this story, because silence can be louder than screams. Pay attention to the way a normal evening can fracture in seconds. And pay attention to the voice on the phone, because it didn't sound like panic. It sounded controlled. That calm would haunt investigators long after the call ended. Welcome to Chilling True Crime, where we don't just tell you what happened, we slow the moment down and make you feel the weight of every decision, every pause, and every truth that comes too late. Stay with us until the end of this case, because what begins as a mystery inside a locked bathroom will unravel into one of the most devastating domestic tragedies Louisiana has ever seen. On a quiet April evening in the small city of DeRidder, Louisiana, police dispatch receives a 911 call that immediately feels off. The dispatcher does what they always do, asks for the emergency, asks for the address, but something about the caller's tone sets off an invisible alarm. There's no screaming, no frantic breathing, no rush of words tumbling over each other. Just a man reporting a crime. He gives the address, he answers calmly, and then without warning, he hangs up. For responding officers, that abrupt disconnect is never a good sign. When a caller drops the line during a reported crime, it usually means one of two things. Either someone is in immediate danger, or the person who made the call doesn't want to answer any more questions. Officer Josh Stanford is dispatched to the scene. As he pulls up to the quiet residential street, there's no sign of chaos. No neighbors screaming, no flashing lights from inside the house, no movement at all. Just a home that looks painfully ordinary. Then the front door opens. Standing there are children. 4 young girls, confused, shaken, and far too composed for what they're about to reveal. The oldest steps forward, her voice steady in a way no child's voice should ever have to be. She explains that her mom is inside, that the door to the bathroom is locked, that something isn't right. She mentions something that seems small at first, something painfully normal. The eggs were burning. That detail would later break the hearts of seasoned investigators. Officer Stanford kneels down to the children's level, guiding them gently away from the hallway. He asks them to sit, to stay together, to be safe. As he moves deeper into the house, the smell of food left unattended lingers in the air. Time frozen mid-task, as if life itself was interrupted. The bathroom door is locked. When officers finally gain access, the worst fear becomes reality. Inside, they find 28-year-old Ashley Fish, unresponsive, lifeless. The room is quiet, too quiet. There are no signs of a violent struggle, no overturned furniture, no shattered objects, just stillness. And suddenly the question every investigator dreads rises to the surface. Was this self-inflicted? Or is a killer still out there? The man who made the 911 call is nowhere to be found. Outside, officers immediately shift focus. The children are still there. 4 young lives standing on the edge of a moment that will divide their world into before and after. The oldest daughter, showing courage no child should ever need to summon, leads her younger sisters across the street to a neighbor's home. She doesn't cry. She doesn't scream. She does what needs to be done. That strength will matter later. Back inside the house, police begin clearing each room, hoping to find another victim, or at least the caller. But the home is empty. Whoever reported the crime has vanished. And then comes the moment that transforms this from a tragic discovery into something deeply personal. Ashley Fish's name is confirmed. One of the responding detectives recognizes it instantly. Ashley isn't just a name on a report. She's someone he knows. Someone who grew up in this town. Someone who married young, raised 4 daughters, moved away, and only recently returned to Louisiana trying to rebuild her life. This isn't just another case. This is someone's friend. As neighbors begin to gather and officers canvass the area, a chilling realization sets in. If Ashley didn't take her own life, then the person responsible didn't just flee the scene. They left 4 children behind in a house with their mother's body and made a calm phone call to police before disappearing. And whoever that person is, they knew exactly what they were doing. If you think this case ends with that phone call, don't look away now, because what happens next will expose lies, manipulation, and a calculated attempt to walk away from murder. The most dangerous moments in an investigation often come right after the shock fades. When the scene is quiet, the adrenaline drops, and everyone realizes one thing at the same time: the person responsible may still be free. As the 4 girls are taken to safety across the street, officers return to Ashley Fish's home with a growing sense of unease. The house has been cleared. No second victim. No suspect hiding in another room. No signs of forced entry. And yet, someone called 911, calmly reported a crime, and vanished. That alone tells investigators something important. Whoever made that call wasn't panicking. They weren't running for help. They were buying time. Police begin working the scene from the outside in, starting with the people who might have seen or heard something. Neighbors who live just feet away, separated only by driveways and fences. In quiet neighborhoods like this, movement stands out. A car starting, a door slamming, a voice raised in anger. And soon, one detail begins to surface again and again. A truck. One neighbor mentions seeing a black truck earlier that evening. Another says it left in a hurry. A young boy mowing the lawn remembers watching a vehicle pull away not long before police arrived. Each account alone means little, but together, they form a timeline. Then comes the confirmation investigators were hoping for. Ring camera footage. Across the street, a doorbell camera captures a black truck leaving Ashley's house just minutes before the 911 call. Not hours, not earlier in the day, minutes. The timing is impossible to ignore. Whoever was driving that truck didn't just leave before police arrived. They left knowing police were already on the way. Now the question changes. It's no longer what happened. It's who was driving that truck. As detectives continue canvassing, they speak with a neighbor who knows Ashley personally. Someone who isn't just watching from behind a curtain, but who understands Ashley's life, her relationships, and the tension she had been living with. When officers explain that Ashley is gone, the neighbor's reaction says everything. No shock, no confusion. Just a heavy realization settling in. She mentions Ashley had been going through a separation, that there was a man in her life, that he drove a black truck. And then she says the name investigators were about to hear many more times. Tyler. Tyler Durachowski, Ashley's boyfriend. The neighbor explains that Ashley was legally separated from her husband and navigating a complicated situation while raising 4 daughters. Tyler had been around, often, and more importantly, he had been there that day. Suddenly the black truck isn't just a vehicle, it's a direction. Detectives begin pulling together everything they can find about Tyler. His age, his background, his connection to Ashley. They learn he isn't from Louisiana, that he had recently been involved in a divorce of his own, that the relationship between him and Ashley had been strained. And as they're preparing to officially begin the search for him, something happens that no one expected. Another 911 call comes in. This time, the voice on the line is familiar. It's calm, controlled, measured. The caller says he wants to turn himself in. He explains that he doesn't know how to do this, but that he committed a crime. When asked what crime, he answers plainly, "I shot somebody." When asked who, he gives the name investigators already know too well, Ashley Fish. He provides a location, a retail parking lot not far from the crime scene, and says he'll wait there to be picked up. For detectives, this creates a strange and unsettling contradiction. The man who fled the scene came back. The person who disappeared is now asking to be arrested. And the calmness in his voice hasn't changed. Officers rush to the location, prepared for anything. A man who has already killed once is unpredictable. They approach cautiously, expecting resistance, fear, or even aggression. Instead, Tyler complies. No fight, no hesitation, no visible emotion. He is taken into custody without incident. But as officers search his vehicle, something doesn't add up. There's no gun, no weapon. What they do find are prescription medications, vials of testosterone, and syringes. Items that raise questions about his mental state, his judgment, and his behavior leading up to that night. Still, without the weapon, the case isn't airtight, and Tyler knows it. As he sits in custody, waiting to be questioned, detectives begin to realize something chilling. Turning himself in may not have been an act of guilt. it may have been a strategy, admits that as their relationship began to fall apart, he threatened to expose Ashley for violating a custody agreement, an agreement that forbade overnight guests. He knew that telling her ex-husband could cost Ashley custody of her children. It wasn't a moment of anger, it was leverage, and it shows investigators exactly how Tyler operates when he feels he's losing control. Still, one critical problem remains: physical evidence. So far, there's no weapon recovered, no obvious signs of a struggle. And the gun, when found, belongs to Ashley, not Tyler. On paper, his self-defense claim isn't impossible, but cases aren't won on stories, they're won on details. And as detectives step out of the interrogation room to reassess, new information is about to surface. Evidence that will dismantle Tyler's version of events piece by piece. Because if Tyler can convince investigators that what happened inside that locked bathroom was an accident, or self-defense, then the lack of physical struggle, the missing weapon, and the calm surrender could all work in his favor. You'll hear Tyler's version of events, and why detectives immediately sense that something about his story doesn't sit right. By the time Tyler Durachowski is escorted into the interrogation room, hours have passed since Ashley Fish's body was discovered. Hours for detectives to replay the scene in their minds. Hours to study the stillness of the bathroom. Hours to think about 4 children who would never sleep under the same roof as their mother again. And now, sitting just feet away, is the man who admits he pulled the trigger. But Tyler doesn't look like a killer. He sits upright, calm, almost polite. His movements are measured, his tone respectful. There's no visible panic, no shaking hands, no tears. For investigators, that calm is more unsettling than rage ever could be. People who act in self-defense are usually frantic, emotional, desperate to explain themselves. Tyler appears, prepared. Before the questioning begins, detectives make one thing clear. They want the truth. Not just about what happened that night, but about everything that led up to it. Relationships don't explode in a single moment. They fracture slowly, quietly, until pressure turns deadly. Tyler agrees to talk. He starts by framing the shooting as an accident, an argument that spiraled out of control. According to him, Ashley pulled a gun during a heated discussion about their failing relationship. He claims she loaded it, pointed it at him, and threatened him. What followed, he says, was a struggle for survival. Not anger, not revenge, fear. He insists he never wanted the gun, never wanted violence. He emphasizes that Ashley was the one who escalated things, the one who introduced a weapon into the room. He paints himself as trapped, afraid to leave, afraid to fight back, afraid that one wrong move would cost him his life. But as Tyler talks, detectives notice something subtle and troubling. He never calls Ashley by her name. She is the woman. The woman and I got into an altercation. The woman had a gun. It's a linguistic distance that investigators have seen before. An unconscious way of stripping humanity from the victim. A way of emotionally separating from what he's done. Still, detectives listen. They let him talk. Because liars often reveal more than they realize when they think they're in control. Tyler explains that after the gun went off, he panicked. He claims he locked the bathroom door to keep the children from seeing what happened. He says he unloaded the weapon, left it behind, and didn't know what to do next. He noticed neighbors outside. He knew the children were still in the house, so he left, drove away, and called 911. To him, that call proves responsibility. To detectives, it raises new questions. Why leave the house at all? Why not call from inside? Why lock the door instead of rendering aid? As the interview continues, Tyler grows restless. He fidgets, avoids eye contact. His words begin to ramble. The calm cracks slightly, but not in grief, in irritation. Then detectives ask about the children. How many were there? Were they asleep? Did he know they were in the house? This is the first time Tyler shows real emotion. His voice tightens. His eyes water. He admits there were 4 girls. That they were there the entire time. That the oldest was responsible enough to watch the others. For a brief moment, it looks like guilt. But detectives aren't convinced. They already know something Tyler doesn't realize yet. Ashley had been asking for help. Messages sent earlier that evening reveal she was trying to get him to leave. That he refused. That she felt trapped in her own home. And then there's another contradiction. Tyler claims he wanted to leave the relationship. That he felt guilty for being involved with a woman who had 4 children. That he felt stuck. But investigators have already uncovered letters, intimate, emotional messages exchanged between Tyler and his ex-wife. Proof that he wasn't trapped at all. He had options. Ashley did not. As the questioning continues, Tyler accidentally reveals something far more disturbing. He admits that as their relationship began to fall apart, he threatened to expose Ashley for violating a custody agreement, an agreement that forbade overnight guests. He knew that telling her ex-husband could cost Ashley custody of her children. It wasn't a moment of anger, it was leverage, and it shows investigators exactly how Tyler operates when he feels he's losing control. Still, one critical problem remains: physical evidence. So far, there's no weapon recovered, no obvious signs of a struggle. And the gun, when found, belongs to Ashley, not Tyler. On paper, his self-defense claim isn't impossible, but cases aren't won on stories, they're won on details. And as detectives step out of the interrogation room to reassess, new information is about to surface. Evidence that will dismantle Tyler's version of events piece by piece. The night had grown darker, the shadows of Derriter, Louisiana, stretching across empty streets. But inside the police station, the tension was far from gone. Detectives had Tyler seated, his calm facade still intact, but the room felt electric, like the air itself was holding its breath. Outside, forensic teams were finishing their analysis of the scene, combing through the Fish household for anything, no matter how small, that might prove what really happened that evening. It was then that the first breakthrough came. A forensic officer walked in with a small evidence bag, carefully holding the murder weapon. Tyler had claimed the struggle was mutual, that Ashley had the gun in her hand, that it went off during a fight. But the weapon told a different story. The gun's barrel was not empty. Inside, forensic examiners found traces of hair. Ashley's hair. Not a random strand. Enough to prove that the barrel had pressed firmly against her skull when fired. The angle of the shot, the residue patterns, and the lack of defensive wounds suggested something chilling. The gun had not discharged in a chaotic struggle. It had been aimed with precision. Detectives brought Tyler back into the room. They didn't need to ask questions just yet. The evidence would speak for itself. "Tyler," Detective Cooley said, his voice calm but firm. "We've just received the forensic report. There's something you need to know. The hair in the gun barrel. It belongs to Ashley. And your claim that she was holding the gun. It doesn't match the physical evidence." For the first time, Tyler blinked. There was a flicker of unease, almost imperceptible, but it was enough. The controlled calm he'd worn like armor began to crack. He shifted in his seat, clearing his throat, trying to find words that would explain away what was unfolding. "They don't understand," he muttered, voice low. It was a struggle. I didn't mean... It was an accident." Detectives watched him carefully. His story had been rehearsed, crafted to frame Ashley as the aggressor. But now, armed with irrefutable evidence, they could see how the narrative was unraveling. Every detail he had offered, every claim of fear, guilt, and hesitation, was about to collide with the hard truth of science. Then came another revelation. Ashley's phone had been found in her right hand, the same hand she would have held if she were right-handed, meaning she hadn't been holding a gun at the moment of the shooting. Tyler's timeline was collapsing. The supposed fight over the weapon? It never happened the way he described. Detective Cooley leaned in, his tone deliberate. "Tyler, the evidence is clear. Ashley did not have the gun in her hand. She did not pose a direct threat to you when she was shot. The shot was executed at close range. This is not self-defense." Tyler's hands tightened into fists. His eyes darted around the room. He opened his mouth, but no words came. For the first time, the controlled, collected man sitting before them was silent, stripped of the narrative he had so carefully constructed. Outside the interrogation room, officers continued piecing together the timeline. Security footage from neighbors' cameras showed Tyler's black truck leaving the house minutes before the 911 call. Text messages and phone records confirmed Ashley had reached out for help. Messages pleading for Tyler to leave, to stop arguing, to consider the children. Inside the room, Detective Cooley pressed further. "We know you threatened to expose Ashley to her ex-husband about her custody agreement. You knew this would jeopardize her access to her kids, and yet, when she was defenseless, you pulled the trigger. How do you justify that?" Tyler's breathing grew heavy. For a moment, he looked like a man facing the full weight of his actions for the first time, but then he faltered. His words became excuses, ramblings, desperation masked as reasoning. I didn't mean to. It got out of hand." Detectives had seen enough. The truth was no longer hidden behind Tyler's calm demeanor. The forensic evidence, combined with witness statements and digital records, painted a portrait of premeditation disguised as panic. And yet, the story wasn't over. There was still one critical element: the children. The 4 young girls who had witnessed fragments of their mother's final moments would hold pieces of the truth Tyler couldn't erase. Detectives knew that confronting the killer with the evidence was only half the battle. The next step would determine whether justice for Ashley Fish would be swift, or whether Tyler's manipulations might stretch the investigation into an even more dangerous game. The room was silent, save for the soft hum of the air conditioner and Tyler's uneven breathing. The weight of the evidence pressed down like a physical force. Detectives Cooley and his team knew this was the moment to push, to finally unravel the full truth. Outside the room, the city of Derriter slept unaware of the storm that had erupted behind the walls of the police station. Tyler had maintained his composure for hours, weaving a story of fear and self-defense, but the forensic evidence, Ashley's phone, the hair in the gun barrel, and the timeline constructed from texts and CCTV footage left no room for ambiguity. This was no accident. This was deliberate. "Tyler," Detective Cooley began, voice steady but sharp. "We've walked through your story multiple times. We've reviewed the forensic report, the messages Ashley sent, and the neighbor's CCTV footage. Everything points to one conclusion. This was not self-defense." Tyler's jaw tightened. He looked down at the floor, then up at the ceiling, as if searching for some escape from the walls that were closing in. His calm, practiced demeanor had completely eroded, replaced by a restless, agitated energy. It wasn't supposed to happen like that," he muttered, his voice trembling. It just got out of hand." Detectives pressed further. "The hair in the barrel, Tyler. The gun pressed against her head. The messages from Ashley to her ex-husband warning about you. This wasn't an accident. You had the power to walk away. You chose not to. Why?" For a moment, Tyler's eyes flickered with raw emotion. Fear, frustration, guilt, but also something darker. A glimmer of resentment. She kept pulling me back in. I didn't want it. I wasn't going to let her ruin my life." His words stumbled out, a mixture of justification and panic. Detective Cooley leaned in closer. "You knew she had 4 children in that house, Tyler. And yet you acted anyway. You shot her in front of them. Explain that. How do you live with that?" Tyler's body tensed, hands clenching the edge of the table. His voice broke. I didn't mean... I didn't want... I just wanted it to stop." The detectives had heard enough. Tyler's narrative had collapsed under the weight of evidence. His version of events, of fear, survival, and mutual aggression, was entirely incompatible with the facts. Ashley had been executed in cold blood, and he had attempted to frame it as self-defense. But there was one final piece of the puzzle. The children. Their witness statements, though partial and traumatized, corroborated the forensic evidence. They had seen Tyler leave the room after the shooting, unsure of what to do, leaving their mother lifeless. Their bravery had guided the police into the house, their survival now a key to justice. Detective Cooley's voice cut through the tension. "Tyler, the truth is clear. Ashley Fish is dead because of your actions. Her children are alive because they were brave enough to call for help. You had a choice. You made the wrong one." Tyler's eyes welled up with tears, but there was no remorse, only panic and self-preservation. He refused to answer further questions until his lawyer arrived, but the evidence had already sealed his fate. Within days, Tyler was formally charged with second-degree murder and 4 counts of child abandonment. The trial was swift and damning. The jury, presented with the forensic evidence, the messages, the CCTV footage, and the children's statements, had little doubt. Tyler Gabowski was found guilty on all charges and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For Ashley's children, life would never be the same. But thanks to the courage of neighbors, the diligence of detectives, and the unflinching pursuit of truth, justice had been served. A GoFundMe had been set up to support them, ensuring therapy, education, and a chance at some normalcy amidst the tragedy. This case serves as a chilling reminder of the fragility of life, the dangers hidden in domestic disputes, and the courage it takes to stand against violence. Ashley Fish's story will not be forgotten, and her children's bravery ensures that her voice echoes beyond the walls of her home. Thank you for watching Chilling True Crime. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our ongoing true crime series. Together, we honor the victims and ensure that justice is never silent.